nothing but chuck wagons, screw, and her name is Minerva. She's the flower of the flower ghost.
Please, disperse. Nothing to see here, please.
Actually, there's plenty to see here. Welcome, everybody. It's once again time for Aaron Live. This is our special Christmas edition. I was going to get a Santa hat, but you know what? They don't make them big enough to fit on my head. I don't know what that says, but, take it for what it's worth. So I got the Santa beard sort of going here, but no hat, just Wraith of God hat, which of course is available on my website right now. You'll find a link in the description of this video to take you right there if you want to order a beanie for these cold winter months that we're now in, and we'll continue here for a couple more. So might just be just the thing. You'll notice I got a little red ribbon back there on my fireplace, a little garland hanging there, little Christmas tree, a little chenoo, Man-Thing lunchbox, which really isn't very Christmassy. So I do have, there it is. I do have a little bit of Christmas environment here. Unfortunately, it's like directly behind my huge head, which Santa hats don't fit on. So you can't really see it as well, unless I just get out of the way, get out of the way. What are you going to do? Welcome for this wonderful holiday season. I do want to point out real quickly that on last Sunday's show, I had Dave Olbrich, the former publisher of the Malibu's Ultraverse. And we were talking about, the past of Malibu Comics and how they became the Ultraverse and all that kind of stuff. And Dale Keown reprimanded me and said, hey, I worked for Malibu before they were the Ultraverse, and you guys didn't say anything about me. And I said, whoa. I said, that's Dave's fault, not mine. So I successfully pushed the blame on Dave Olbrich, and I'm in the clear. So I just want to say that I get that cleared up. But so if you want to look for early Dale Keown, he says he did a couple of the Dinosaur for Hire covers, which I didn't know. I did one. But I didn't know that Dale did one. See, Dale and I started about the same time, and just somehow his career went like this, and mine kind of went like this as Dale was heading off into the stratosphere. I was like, no, wait for me. But what can you do? Okay, enough of this nonsense. We have a pretty good show today. I'm not having any guests. It's not going to be like a Bing Crosby Christmas where people kind of shuffle in and, we smoke pipes and sing Christmas songs. But I do have a lot of kind of fun stuff to look at and to talk about. So I've got a good feeling that that this will be a fine show that you'll be thankful that you spent, an hour and a half to 2 hours with me to enjoy. But let's first take a look and see who's here to enjoy this moment with me. Coram is here. He says, what are some good Christmas themed comics? I can only think of X-Men cover with Kitty Pryde on it. You would think that I would do Christmas comics as a feature on this show. The problem is a lot of the features that I set up for last week's show, when I had Dave on and we basically talked the whole time, I didn't use that stuff. So here it is. So I couldn't like skip ahead. And so there's Christmas stuff, but I did not pick out my Christmas covers because I have, or Christmas comics, because I have other stuff in the comic realm. And I didn't want to overload you with Christmas cheer, even on a Christmas special. Sequential Treasures is here. Howler 6480 is joining us. Mark Pengren, Past Master Dan, hailing the greatness of J.C. Linedecker, and I could not help but agree with that. Creative Phase here. Merry Christmas, Aaron and Shelley. Hope you have a spectacular week. Thank you. We have family coming. We're okay. Full house for like 3 days. Starting tomorrow evening. So it's going to be crazy. So there's no professionals on Tuesday. I believe there's Kings tomorrow. Whether or not I'll be able to make it. Actually, I won't be able to make it because I'll have people here. And then, of course, Graybeards will not be on because that's Christmas Day. Now, the following week, I think Graybeards is on New Year's Day, so I don't know if we'll be doing that either. So you may have seen after this episode right here, you've probably seen the last of me until after New Year's, and maybe the last of a lot of people till after New Year's. It's really tough to schedule stuff over the holidays. You got people coming to visit, you've actually got the holidays themselves. So I'll do what I can. Stealth X5 is here. John Porton. I sure hope Bosch Faustin gets an invite to the show. He did not. Bosch is a good guy, though. Barbara Paulson. Merry Christmas to you and Shelley. Have a great Christmas. Thank you. You too. Creative Face says, Aaron, expect another Man-Thing and Howard the Duck piece in your future. All right. I'll be looking for that. Repairman Jack. Merry Christmas, Loprestes. If I get Wraith of God from your website, will you sign it for me? Yes. Just make sure you remind me because your order is not going to come in as Repairman Jack. It's going to come in as your real name. So, yeah, remind me to say, hey, man, sign that book, whether message me or whatever, to let me know. So I'll make sure that I do that. Pantheon's here. Sequential Artiste. The Geek Easy. Wraith of God, abbreviated Navy. WOG is abbreviated Navy speak for Pollywog. A sailor who hasn't crossed the equator and gone through the ceremony to become a shellback. I would not know such things, as I am not a veteran, and I do have great deal of respect and admiration for those of you who are. I grew up right at a period of time where that was, I would have been, during the Reagan years, I would have been age eligible. I did register for the selective service. If you remember, Reagan wanted to do that to kind of, so we had a head count of everybody that was available if something happened, which of course nothing ever did. But anyway, yeah. If I had joined the service, it probably would have kept me out of spending all that money on college at film school. Probably would have helped me. Quoth the Raven says he'll be in a little bit. He's cooking dinner. He's always cooking dinner. Ella Campbell. I know Ella. Merry Christmas, Eve. Indeed it is, Ella. Thanks for joining us. Sammy's downstairs watching TV. Kids today. But Ella at least is watching this show, which shows that she's smarter than the average college student. So thank you, Ella, for joining us. GJ Martinez saying Merry Christmas. Geek Avengers here. Fox Mulder's joining us to Pelotonist. I finally get to watch Lopez live instead of waiting till the next day. Wow. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate that. Moromi is here. Brian, I thought that said Biden suddenly old. And I go, Biden is not suddenly old. He's been old for a long time. But no, it's Brian suddenly old is here. Leg Kick is here because Leg Kick is almost always here. Squeaky is joining us because we're Geek Avenger is Squeaky's not too far behind. There's Andy Dalliff saying Merry Christmas. Thank you. Appreciate that. GJ says, nothing beats staying up super late and watching a bunch of Christmas movies with the family. And yes, we included Die Hard in our viewing last night. We watched, what did we watch last night? We watched, what's the one where Santa Claus says, put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking across the floor. That one. We watched that one, Rankin and Bass. Is that Santa Claus is Coming to Town? Perhaps. And then we watched a Mickey Christmas Carol, which it's not that great. We were going to watch Muppets Christmas Carol, but my mom suddenly announced, I hate the Muppets. And I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? We couldn't find the DVD anyway, so we didn't watch it. And but then we did watch the Chuck Jones produced Christmas Carol from 1972, 71, 72, animated. Really good. I recommend it. It's only 30 minutes, but it's kind of creepy, actually. But Chuck Jones produced with some of his best animators on there from his Looney Tunes days with Warner Brothers. You'll find it on YouTube in case you're interested. Gary Bruce is here, who also goes by another name, but I can't ever remember if I'm supposed to reveal that or not, so I'm not going to do it. Marcus Killigrew, purveyor of all things pop culture knowledge, is joining us. Randy Howell, all the way from Canada. Comics Legend is here. He says, the beard is looking good. Thank you, sir. It's very, I turned off my overhead light because it was just washing me out. I look like a corpse. See, I have a little bit of pink in me now. I don't have all that light just... GJ says, the chimney is looking mighty warm behind you. It's kind of like AI. It gives off a false impression of quality. There's no heat, unfortunately. But it does look good, I guess, for a plastic, Okay. Let's see here. Who else we got here? Chat is going strong with all sorts of conversation that does not include me. Maromi says, no David Bowie, not this year. Dinosaurs for Hire #5 has a Dale cover, says Past Master Dan. How about that? We should look that up. Maybe we will. The Green Laser is here. Normie Nerd is here. Clint L. Why is today not the Christmas draw stream? Bring in Shane Davis. Hey, I tried to bring in Shane. Shane was just like, he wasn't having any of it. So you blame him. Don't blame me. Geek Avenger says he scratched his cornea in 3 places, but it's healing nicely. Okay, well, that's good. Gee, Merry Christmas. What the heck, man? Be careful out there. Yeah, let's see here. A lot of conversation. Here we go. Geek Avenger for $5 big. I plan on using my Wrath of God shot glasses for consuming Pennsylvania Dutch eggnog. That a boy. That's what you want to do. Waylon Todd is here. Grumpy Old Ninja Kintaro. Oh, look at this name. Grumpy Old Ninja Kintaro Oe. Okay. Peter Orchard. Oh my God. Suddenly, I cannot speak. Peter Orchard Studios. There it is. Thank you very much. Maromi's saying that Santa Claus is coming to town. Okay. Leg kick. Kentucky Fried Movie. What an idiot. No, of course, it's not Kentucky Fried Movie, which I have seen, by the way. That does have, what was the Bruce Lee parody in there? A Fistful of Yen. That's what it was. Bruce Willis says that Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. He said that. So take that with whatever. Keely Chow is here. How about that? John Porton. Where's John Malin? These guys are they stay up so late streaming. They're probably in bed right now. Eric Boyd is here. How about that? John F76. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much. Bob Jester 28, hail and Merry Christmas. Thank you. Appreciate it. Rocky Macabre is here. I just watched it. See for yourself. I don't know. He's not talking to me. He's talking to somebody else. Oh, so Peter Orchard Studio says Bruce Willis has said a lot of things. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I used to say that was a ridiculous sentiment, but after watching it again and noticing that they had actually woven Christmas music into the actual soundtrack, I mean, not just like they were playing it at the Christmas party, it's actually part of the soundtrack. It makes me kind of think that you could make an argument that it is a Christmas movie, but I never have any sort of like strong feelings about watching it during Christmas time because it's still, number one, an action adventure movie that takes place at Christmas time. But there's no snow in LA, so it doesn't even feel like Christmas, other than the fact they're having a Christmas party. And like I said, they did interweave Christmas music into the soundtrack. So that does count for something. Geek Avenger says First Blood is a Christmas movie. And the great question that Eric Boyd has to say is, does it really matter? No, it really doesn't. So anyway, you know what does matter though? Frazetta matters. Now, we're going through his Pellucidar paintings. Again, Pellucidar is the center of the earth where all the dinosaurs and cavemen and cave women roam around in the world of Edgar Rice Burroughs. So we're taking a look at them one by one, checking them out, see what you think. So today is no exception. Even though it's a Christmas show, we're doing Pellucidar, which has nothing to do with Christmas. So here we go. That is, of course, Tanar of Pellucidar, which is the dude's name. Now, is it one of Frazetta's best paintings? No, it's not even close, but there is still something cool about it. The dude's arm holding the knife with that kind of like viscous dripping red blood on it. The face and the hair, you know, it's very dark and shadowed, and yet there's something kind of cool about it. So it's like that dude from the waist up is pretty interesting looking. There's not much going on after that. And the background is really sort of overly simplistic. Makes me think that he was on a deadline crunch, but he still managed to put in a really interesting looking figure with some nice motion to it, albeit extremely simplistic in terms of the design, still a fairly effective piece of work. And that is on the paperback Tanner of Pellucidar. So there you go. That is the Frazetta piece that will take us into the new year more than likely. No, that's not true, because we will be doing a Sunday show again next Sunday. And that'll be the 29th. So that'll be right before New Year's Eve. So, or New Year's Day as well, because New Year's Eve comes right before New Year's Day. So we will be doing another Sunday show, and, so we will get another Frazetta before the end of the year. But this is the last one before Christmas. Not exactly a Christmassy Frazetta, but there's not a ton of Frazetta stuff that you would say is, oh, that's sort of Christmassy. You know what else is not Christmassy, but very important nonetheless? It's Wraith of God 3, Fear Hollow. Now, I know that everybody watching at this particular moment is probably backed to some capacity, but promotion is what makes the world go around. So we have to make, in case there's one or two of you in there, they're like, Wraith of God, what's that? Well, It's number 3, so that means there's been 2 before it. So it is a series of graphic novels featuring my character, Wraith of God. This one's entitled Fear Hollow. Now, it's a, what is Wraith of God? Wraith of God is a Western horror superhero series. Yeah, I mean, I jammed everything I could in there. It's not sci-fi, but it is Western horror superhero. And he's kind of a Batman of the Old West in a lot of ways. He has this traveling wagon with all of his stuff in it. He's a master of disguise and illusion and makeup. And he's got a partner named Esther, a former Salvation Army worker. She's sort of his Alfred. And they travel around this great country of ours in 1883, and I suppose beyond, and hunt down monsters that are maybe terrorizing our landscape. So and he believes he's on a mission from God that sort of told him that this is what he needs to do. Is it true? Is he just crazy? We still don't know all the facts yet. That's kind of the fun. So in this particular case, he heads to the northeast to a small New England town called Cranestown, where a headless horseman lived amongst the shadows and the trees 20 years earlier, that he faced as a child, as a 12-year-old child. And now 20 years later, he's going back to revisit his past. And the horror that was there 20 years ago has returned. Oh, the chills. It's scary, folks. I scared myself writing it. I highly recommend it. We get more about his origin, more into the relationship with him and Esther. And so you can't really miss this one. You don't want to miss it. And plus, it's got wonderful cover options for you. You can go cover A. You can go cover B. That is the EC Comics variant. Those of you who remember EC Comics way back from the 50s, I don't because I wasn't there, but I remember them from seeing them later. Then, of course, the 1972 Marvel box cover variant. Now, these I do remember and fondly remember them, obviously, because I keep including them in my campaign. Then this wonderful painted cover by not Chris Evans, I almost said Chris Stevens, not Captain America, but he has painted Captain America. Chris Stevens, who has only appeared on 2 podcasts in his entire life, and both of them have been with me on this show right here. Here's some black and white artwork. This is the witch, and then this is another dude from the Wraith's past, but exactly who is it? Oh, well, you might find out, you might not. This is all first 5 pages have been sent to the colorist. And hopefully I'll have those soon, and I can post the colored versions of these pages up here as opposed to the black and white artwork. This is some David Williams artwork from a backup story that will only be included in the comic if we hit 100K, and we are a long way from there, but we got a ways to go yet. So hope springs eternal as we continue to push this and encourage you guys to back the greatest graphic novel series on the market right now. We got stretch goals, got another one coming up here. Trading cards. I love to do trading cards because I think it's fun. I want to have like a humongous set of trading cards, and we're getting there. So it'll be a couple more trading cards. And of course, like I said, the David Williams backup story, if we hit 100K, you can get the Wraith of God Nouveau print. I think this is very fancy. Wraith of God Roughs, Volume 3, 48 pages of layouts for the graphic novels. You kind of can pull the curtain back, see the process, and these are great books. They're signed and numbered, limited edition, only to orders, okay? So if I get like 300 orders, I print up like 325 of them just in case some get damaged, and that's it. And then they're gone. So these are more rare than the comic itself. So you'll want to get one of these. Shot glasses, we're going to a series of 6 of them. This is the 4th in a series of 6. We've already done the Wraith, Garbage Man, Kit Carter, and now the Nightclub. You wonder who the Nightclub is? Well, you should check out Wraith of God Blood Hunters, which is Wraith of God number 2, and you'll find out that answer. Or also, they're in the Garbage Man trade paperback, so they're around. You can get back issues if you missed them on this campaign, or you can go directly to my website and order these. After Christmas, we'll have some more original art up, and we're going to do some t-shirts after Christmas. So keep your eyes open for those. Look at that, man. I'm like $70 away from 72,000. We're 26 backers away from 1,000. We got it. I mean, I got to hit at least 1,200 backers on this campaign, or I'll cry like a freaking baby. So anyway, there you go. You'll find a link in the description of this video. You will also find a link to my website. And I have a store on my website where you can get back issues. You get them immediately. They ship immediately. They're a little bit more expensive than if you get them on the campaign, but you get them immediately. So you can kind of weigh and balance them, you know, what's more important to you. But you can also get, if you missed Kit Carter, graphic novel, Kit Carter Planet Doom, if you missed that, you can also get it on my website, along with the movie poster, the Kit Carter sketchbook. There are extra copies available of these things, and they're available on my website. And you'll find a link in the description of this video. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your paid advertisement for this show. Thank you for joining us. Good night, everybody. Of course, I'm joking. We're only just beginning. Let's see. Tupolo Tuna says, Lethal Weapon, Die Hard, and Gremlins, day after Christmas family tradition for 22 years. Well, okay. We used to play Grease, the soundtrack from Grease, when we were decorating the tree. I started doing that. I think I started doing that before I met Shelley. Then we used to do it every year. And then, you know, we don't really do it that much anymore. But it's always in our heart. John F. 76, $2. Wraith versus H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds crossover. That's not a bad idea. There's a lot of good ideas. Someone suggested I should do a Santa Claus versus the Grinch comic, which I would love to do, although I can't use the Grinch without permission. And that, when I say without permission, I mean without little cash incentive permission. I'm going to do that. How about adding a trading card binder to the store to store the cards? I like that idea, Marcus. I was going to do that. Why didn't I do it this campaign? I don't know. Maybe I'll add it. I can always add it. I'm going to think about that because I was going to do that. Maybe I should bring that into this campaign. That'd be kind of fun. I have to count how many cards I've got. I think I've got like 10 or 12 at this point. I'd like to get like 25, 30 maybe would be kind of fun. We'll see. Yeah, copyright nightmare. Tell me about it. GTO Martinez says, I can't wait for Wraith of God 3 for Hollow. Once I get it, I will reread 1 and 2 and jump on 3 with my hot cup of coffee. Of course. Thank you. GJ is a big supporter of the campaigns, as many of you are, and I greatly appreciate it. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. Madass trading card binder with your art. I'm going to do that. I am going to do it. The question is, am I going to put it on this campaign or wait till the next one? But I am going to do that. That's on my list of things to do. All right. You know what's also on my list of things to do? Show you guys stuff and talk about it. Where to begin is really the question. Let's jump right in and take a look. What I've been doing is presenting to you guys my top covers, my favorite covers. Now it's not 10. There's no given number. It's just, favorite covers from each decade. We've done the 40s, we've done the 50s, and we've done the 60s. So where does that leave us? If my math is correct, that puts us right into the 70s. So let's take a look at some of my favorite covers from the 1970s. Now, this is a healthy list, I must admit, because I grew up. That was my prime reading, was in the 70s. And then I got back into comic books like in 85, 86, when I was down in LA at film school. I was in college, and I used to go to Golden Apple Comics because I wanted to go there just to say I'd been there. And then, of course, once I got back in the comic shop and I said, ooh, what's that? What's that? I got back into reading comics again. So I do have, the 80s, the latter half of the 80s was, you know, a lot of my comic reading as well. But my formative years were in the 70s. So I've got a lot of, why does my nose itch? I've got a lot of covers to show you guys. Now, these aren't in any particular order. So it's not like, you know, this is my favorite or this is my least favorite. I'm just going to show you some. You know who I want to start with? I want to start with Jack King Kirby. What do you guys think of this? This, of course, is the Demon #1. Now, I love this cover, but this is 1971, if I'm not mistaken. Someone will correct me. It might be 72. No, it's 20 center. Well, it could be 1972. I want to say 71, but someone will correct me if I'm wrong. Past Master Dan says the nose itch means UPS guy will make the dog bark. Man, isn't that the truth? Geek Easy says, I've been to Golden Apple. It's overrated. Well, when were you there, man? I was there. Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, I've been to better comic shops, and like Bedrock City was a great comic shop in Houston. You know, I've been to a couple in New York that were like Forbidden Planet's okay. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of square footage. That's the thing. There's some here in Portland, like Excalibur, that is, if you like back issues, holy crap, they got huge back issues. Selection of back issues. So yeah, there's a lot of, I like comics in Vancouver is a great comic shop. But Golden Apple's famous, you know, and a lot of celebs hang. I mean, I would go in there and there'd be like celebs, you know, not when I say celebs, I mean like comic books. I mean like sci-fi movie celeb type people that were not like huge like Brad Pitt, but they were like, you know, for those of us who are into this kind of stuff, we would know them because they were in a bunch like RoboCop and things like that. They would just be like Billy Mooney was hanging around there. I'd run into him, or Ferrer's not Miguel Ferrer. Is it Miguel Ferrer? Jose Ferrer's son. Is it Miguel Ferrer? He was in RoboCop, wasn't he? I think he was. He was like doing cocaine with a bunch of naughty girls or something in a scene. I can't remember. I ran into him there, you know, on occasion. So it's just, yeah, it was kind of cool. What they would do was, though, the comics were, because in the 80s, when I was there, the mid to later 80s, you know, Dark Knight was coming out and the black and white boom was huge. And everything was getting hot again. And so it was like, if you went in there to buy a comic on Wednesday, right? And let's say you hadn't gone the previous Wednesday. So like a new book was out. And I said, oh yeah, I missed Batman last week. Where is it? Oh, it's behind the counter. And they had marked it up. So they wouldn't leave comics out on the shelf. And like, if they had an issue of Batman, they wouldn't leave it out until the next issue of Batman came out and then make it a back issue. They'd wait a week until the next bunch of comics came, and they would take it and mark it up. So if it was, what were comics back then? $1 probably. Then it would be, you know, they'd be charging $3 or $5 or something for it. And you're just like, what? You know, it just came out a week ago. So that kind of ticked me off. So you always had to be there and get what you wanted, because if you let it sit around, you were paying more money for it. But anyway, so the interesting thing about this cover is I love this cover, but I've never collected this book because it's called, you guessed it, The Demon. And there's a couple of books that I just won't buy out of principle, being a Christian that I am, that this stuff sort of like, it feels like it's kind of glorifying Satan or whatever, even though I don't think Kirby gave that much depth of thought into this stuff. And I do kind of think it's cool, the monster side of me, but I never collected this book because of that. But I do still recognize the cover as being pretty cool. There's a Sleeping Psychopathy saying, Merry Christmas, Lopresti. Well, thank you. Merry Christmas to you too. Now here's a classic. Some people would argue, not me, of course, but some people would argue that this comic right here ushered in the Bronze Age. Okay, this is 1971. This is, of course, Neil Adams, and this is Green Lantern 76, the first team up of Green Lantern and Green Arrow. Very political comic. So Green Lantern was sort of the conservative, and the Green Arrow was very much the liberal. And so they were constantly arguing and fighting. It was an interesting dynamic. And as a kid, I didn't really care about politics. So I recognized there were two sides, but I wasn't like picking a favorite or whatever, as I might now. So it didn't really bother me as long as they were doing stuff, to go along with the social messaging I was getting with this comic. But brilliant comic. And so you say, well, what's the controversy? Why would this have ushered in the Bronze Age? Well, some people say this did. And other people claim, another one of my favorite covers from the 70s, that this book ushered in the Bronze Age. And this, of course, is Conan #1. And this is the one I've seen recognized most officially as the beginning of the Bronze Age. Again, the two books are only like a month or two apart. So I guess, so the argument rages on. But I've always heard and been told and recognized Conan #1 as the book that began the Bronze Age. So it was still 15 cents, but not for long. It's interesting how, comics were 10 cents for decades, literally 3 decades. And then they became 12-cent books for a few years, all the way up until, I think, 68. So probably about from 1962, 63 to 68. Then they became 15 cents from 69 to 71. Then they became 20 cents for like 2 years, and 25 cents, and then 30. And it was like every year it started going up. So this is a great Barry Smith cover. I don't know. Did Sal ink that? No. JV. Who's JV? So is Barry Smith. You see the Barry Smith right there, and then JV. I assume that's who inked it. Was that Verborten? Marcus Kilgrew, help me out, dude. Who inked this? It wouldn't have been, obviously not Sal Buscema. Who was JV? Was it John Verborten? Wait a minute. Aaron? I thought that issue of Conan was 12. No, it's 15. I wouldn't bet my life on it, because every time I think I'm absolutely sure of something, I am wrong. And I'm absolutely sure this is 15 cents, which means I was probably wrong. I'm looking it up right now. It was indeed 15 cents. Woo! I was right. I was completely convinced I was right, and I actually was right. How about that? There it is. John Verborten, Apex Comics. And okay, there you go. Not a bad ink job, really, over Barry Smith. This is when Barry Smith was sort of transitioning out of his Kirby phase into his like really sort of illustrative phase. So, but yeah, certainly a landmark book. Conan has not left comics since this period of time. So anyway, there's a few books there. Okay, how about this? Let's go back to Kirby. I love this cover. And I do have this comic. Actually, I have all these comics, except I don't have the Demon #1, which I told you why. I used to have Green Lantern 76. I sold my entire Green Lantern collection when I sold my Spider-Man collection. I can't even explain it, but I did. So I don't even have those Neil Adams issues anymore. And I collect Neil Adams. I don't know. Why did I do that? Something made me think that they were maxed out. And because Green Lantern 76 had gone way up. And I thought, I'm going to cash this in. And it was like it was like a 7.0 maybe. It wasn't like a great copy, but yeah, so I don't have any Green Lanterns anymore, and I don't have any Spideys. But I still have plenty of other books. So, and this is one of them. I love this cover. I love Mr. Miracle. I thought it was another great creation by Kirby. And there's other covers like in the Demon and Mr. Miracle. Commandy has some good cover. I mean, a lot of that Kirby stuff at DC that didn't really go over that well when it came out is certainly looked back at fondly and used quite a bit by DC. Slavic One says, Aaron, what do you think of the Superman trailer? You want to know something? I have not seen it yet. Everybody's talking about it, but I have not taken the time to watch it, and I will do that and give you a report next week. All right, this comic I own, and I love this cover. It's another Neil Adams, because really Neil and Gil Kane sort of ruled the 70s as cover artists. Look at that Batman cover. Seek Batman out, my pets, and destroy him. Good thing he's hiding up here where they can't get him. You know what? Here's the thing about Neil. He was not afraid to draw an interesting angle, even though it may slightly have compromised the figure in terms of what you normally expect from cover art, because you want Batman front and center facing the reader and blah, blah, and that is definitely not what we got here. He's in the foreground, obviously, and you can see him, but he's turned away from us. But it's just such an interesting composition and a dramatic composition that you look at that and go, wow, I want to get that comic. And I did get it. And of course, it's in near mint condition because I wouldn't have it any other way. A lot of discussion about Neil in the chat. He did quite a few great covers. Let's take a look at another one. This may be my favorite Batman Neil Adams cover. I love this cover. Of course, I have this one in near mint as well. Now, the interesting thing about this cover, or pardon me, this issue, is that Bernie Wrightson, Len Wein, and one other, who was it? Was it Archie Goodwin? Was it Howard Chaykin? Those three guys are at like this carnival or something at the very beginning of this issue. And so it's kind of fun. And I want to say that Wrightson inked this over Neil. He did that a couple of times. And he's actually a really good inker over Neil Adams. But yeah, it's kind of a classic comic because those guys were there at the very beginning of the story. It's pretty funny. This is very true. Apex Comics says sometimes you would see a Neil Adams Green Lantern worm's eye view butt shot. He did that a lot, actually. I actually stole that from him. I do that a lot, or at least I used to. Pantheon says, Darren and I see your artwork. I really do see a cross between Neil Adams and Alan Davis and a pinch of Wrightson. I'm not a big, I love Alan Davis, but it wasn't necessarily he was a big influence on me, but he was a big influence. Neil Adams was a big influence on him. So you're going to see qualities in his work that you're going to see in mine as well, because we have the same influences. You don't see much Wrightson in my work when I'm doing superhero stuff, but when I do monster stuff, it's clear as day. But thank you. Very astute observations. Let's take a look at this. Now, this is the first comic book I ever owned, but it's also one of the great covers of all time. It is Hulk versus Thing. This is FF 112. And because of the greatness of this cover, this book has exploded in value. Pre-COVID, it was about $300 in near mint condition. Now in near mint condition, it's like close to $1,000 in a 9.2. And over that, upwards 1,500 in some cases, like a 9.4. And it's because of that black cover. Really hard to get in high grade. I have a mid-grade copy I just picked up randomly at a con, 10 years ago or something, just because I realized I was like, this is my first comic and I don't have this book. So I just grabbed a copy. Unfortunately, the cover, one of the staples is detached, which really pissed me off because I didn't open it up. I just bought it, and then I got home and flipped through it and I was like, yo! And now it's like too freaking expensive for me actually to get a nice copy. So I'll just be stuck with my my mid-grade. But this is just an absolutely fantastic issue. John Buscema on the inside, a great slugfest issue. Truly, when Stan said enough said, he meant it. So this was also 1971. Great issue there. Pantheon says, hey, did Bernie Wrightson do a graphic novel? Yes, he did. I have it someplace around here. Yeah, Jim Starlin wrote it, and Wrightson drew it, and inked it, and colored it, I believe. And it's the Hulk versus Thing team up. It was one of those 8.5 by 11 graphic novels in the Marvel graphic novel series that I was emulating with Kit Carter. Let me take a quick sidetrack and show you guys one of my favorite splash pages from the 70s. I've had this on my computer forever because I've been meaning to show it on the show, but I didn't know what the appropriate time was. Now's the appropriate time. This is Val Merrick, and this is Supernatural Thrillers. What number is it? Doggone it. Number 8. So the Living Mummy first appeared in Supernatural Thrillers number 5, I think. And then 6 was a Headless Horseman story. Then 7, the Living Mummy returned. And so he's out in space. And then he lands on this planet and fights these mud men. It's just, everything about it I just love. So I wonder who owns this splash page, because I want it. But it's probably, God, can you imagine? It's probably 20 grand right now. Not only was he famous for drawing Howard the Duck, he co-created Howard the Duck. I know Val. Val's a conservative too. Maybe I shouldn't have outed him, but he's in Texas now and he's painting. I just talked to him not too long ago, like a month or two ago. Good dude. He used to live not too far from me, and we would talk more frequently than I have in recent years, because I'm an old recluse with a gray beard. Anyway, so what's not to love about that piece of artwork? Anyway, okay, so let's move along here. Now we're going to get into another 5 covers here I want to. Now this affected me greatly as a kid. Now this is when Captain America became the Nomad for only like 2 or 3 issues, I think. And then this other guy, this dude right here, became the new Captain America, and then he got himself killed. But what a dramatic cover. I remember seeing this on the newsstand going, whoa, and I had to get it. So I knew it wasn't Steve Rogers, because there's Steve right there as the Nomad. But this guy, playing superhero didn't work out for him very well. It just goes to show you not everybody can be Captain America. But what a great, I thought, a great 3-issue thing. Now Graham hated this because he felt that the Nomad, Steve Rogers, sort of adopted some, shall we say, liberal tendencies that he thought were out of character for Captain America, where he sort of, because he didn't like who was in the government at that moment, he quit being Captain America instead of representing the country, regardless of, we had bad presidents, Biden, for example, Obama, for example, FDR, for example. Some might not agree with that, but anyway, so he stayed Nomad for 3 issues. I actually went on Halloween as Nomad. My mom made me that costume, and no one knew who I was. And I really kind of was embarrassed that by the end of the evening, I was like, why did I dress up like a superhero that no one's ever heard of? And then he was gone after 3 issues. So it was like, but what an impact it must have had on little 11-year-old Aaron, or whatever I was when this came out. I think this is 74, maybe 75. But what a great cover by Gil Kane. I'll sit here and I will say to my dying breath that the most effective comic book covers have a large central figure that draw your attention. It's bold, it's interesting. And this, of course, the storytelling here, making it so dramatic. Oh my gosh, Captain America died. I've got to buy this book. We just don't see that anymore. We have single, issues, but there are single characters a lot of times, but it's just them posing because half the time they don't even know what the story is before they do the cover. It's unfortunate, but true. So there you go. Now let's take a look at a guy named John Byrne, a guy who I've been in fights with a couple times, verbal, not physical. But I was a big fan of his as a kid. I loved Iron Fist because John Byrne was drawing it. This is a classic cover, which is pretty interesting that it is, but it is. And you can get a t-shirt with this on it. That's got to say something. Now, like I said, I love the Byrne artwork on the inside, and I love this cover. And I bought it when I was a youth, but I don't have it anymore because I traded a ton of my collection when I was 18 or 19 years old to get a Spider-Man #2. And so a lot of stuff that I had like this, I've had to go back and rebuy. And I had a really hard time finding this book in high grade. I ended up getting a 9.4 of this book. And, but most people were overcharging like by sometimes $100 or more for this book, just because it's a classic cover and it really didn't have that value. And so I had a really hard time getting this copy, but I finally did. 9.4 at the right price. Marcus Killigrew says, oh my gosh, you know what? You are right. He says, Romita added the right hand. You can tell right here, the line work here, that like on the knuckles, this is Romita all the way, baby, where this is not at all. You can tell that's Romita Fist. That's pretty amazing. I did not know that, but thank you for pointing that out. Now I know it. And I'm excited to have inside knowledge. Okay, this is 71 as well. This is like as freaking classic Neil as you can get. That is Superman 223. This is another super expensive book just because of this cover, because this cover is so classic. Superman breaking the kryptonite chains. Geek Avenger for 5 says, I love Iron Fist. I have a lot of volumes, trade paperback, but they don't jive well with actual Chinese Tibetan legends. Well, it is comic books. And most of this stuff, guys just make up. I think we all sort of would readily admit that. But anyway, I don't own this, but I'd like to get a copy, but it is super expensive. So it'll have to be the right time at the right price. And some would argue that Superman's leg here is way too long compared to this one. Even though that one is supposed to be going the other direction, but it kind of feels like it's going straight up and down, even though that's not really, it's supposed to be this wider stance, but I think if it had been a little bit more of an angle on it, we'd buy it a little bit better. But anyway, it's still a classic. What are you going to do? This is one of my favorite covers from the 70s. We'll take you back to 1972. This is a Marvel box cover by Gil Kane. I brought this up on the Professionals, and I just got chastised like crazy. Like, you think this is one of the best covers of the 70s? I'm like, heck yeah, it is. And then, Art Taber was like pointing out tangents because he just goes nuts on tangents. And half the time I don't even notice them. But why is this cover so great? Let me tell you why it's so great. First of all, it's a box cover, and I'm sort of favorable to those. But beyond that, you have this giant monster coming straight at you. How dynamic is this? It's freaking awesome. It's the Fury of Fra. Are you kidding me? And then you've got your hero, who's Gulliver Jones in this, which of course nobody cares about. You could actually call him a poor man's John Carter, even though he was created before John Carter of Mars, way back in the pulp days. But I do like this pterodactyl man right here. It's kind of cool. And so you got Gulliver Jones of Mars is in the fist of this monster. And so you've got your hero front stage, but you got this gigantic monster coming right at you. It's super dynamic, huge, bold, singular figure. This is the kind of cover you see and you just go, I got to buy this comic. And so yeah, there you go. The Fury of Fra. I highly recommend this. Incredibly cheap book, but oh, it's wonderful. And the whole Gulliver of Mars run, which has started with 16, which was a Stranko cover. I went through 21, I think. So is that 5 or 6 issues? 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 6 issues. But if you like John Carter, you would love this Gulliver of Mars thing. And it's readily available in Creatures on the Loose. Not a very expensive series, but what a great cover by Gil Kane. Daniel Russell says, I bought that like 6 months ago, and you probably didn't pay much for it, did you? But it is well worth it. And Spider-Man artist Ross Andrew did the interiors on this issue. All right, where are we at here? I've only got one more to show you from the 70s. And this is another great one by the great Mike Plug. Look at that. Buy this axe, I rule, baby. Now, I've seen the original. I've told this story a million times, and gosh darn, I'm going to tell it again. He drew this originally. This arm was up here, and the axe crossed in front of Cole the Destroyer. So John Romita Sr., the art director at the time, went in here with an X-Acto knife and cut right here, cut this whole arm and axe out, and then bent it down and glued it back on, the original, to be here, so it wouldn't cover up the logo. So the original piece of art has this hole right here where they cut out the arm for the axe. And I saw this hanging on Mike's wall in his house back in the mid-90s. Early to mid-90s, 94 probably, when he lived in Seattle. And I think he's since sold this, but at the time it was hanging there in a frame on his wall in his basement. And it's pretty remarkable to see some of this stuff, the original art. In fact, we went through his flat files, and he had like a unused Ghost Rider cover. It was just in pencils. I almost bought it, and I was going to take it home and ink it, and I thought, yeah, that'd be great. Buy a Plug original, then ruin it. I didn't end up buying it, but I do have some Plug original stuff, though, but it's from his card set. But anyway, I love this cover. Freaking love this cover. And you know the only thing better than that cover is the first page to the comic. And you say, come on, Aaron, it can't be true. Look at that. That is the first page. Dude, how do you not... You see that cover, and then you open it up and see this. You're like, how do you not buy this book? Incredible. Look at that axe. It's gigantic. He's just like hacking people. This is awesome. I'd love to have this splash page. I'm sure this would, if you got 10,000 in your pocket, you could probably get it. Maybe 15. But anyway. So those are my favorite 1970s covers. Not to say there isn't more that I like. Like Howard the Duck #1 is really good, although the insert of Spider-Man in the circle dings it for me. If they hadn't put that in there, it was a pretty strong cover by Frank Brunner. Brunner had a nice Man-Thing cover one or two. So anyway, those are my favorites from the 70s. While we're talking about barbarians, let me take a drink. Good fresh water. You guys, I'm sure a lot of you, if you're a Barbarian or Conan fans, have been following the Titan series. They solicited me to do work for them and never hired me. I wonder if they found out the truth about me and decided that he's not one of us. We can't use him. I don't know. But hope springs eternal that someday I'll actually get to do some more Conan work. But I just picked this up from Titan. This is the first trade paperback collects the first story arc, which I have all the floppies, so I didn't get and the second one story arc has Dougie Braithwaite did the artwork in it, and I think he's a fantastic artist, but I really dig this Rob Della Torre stuff because he's really kind of aping John Buscema, and it's like getting new Buscema work. And so those are the ones I'm kind of more interested in reading. And this story, I read the first 2 issues yesterday. That's pretty cool. So look at that. I mean, that looks totally like a Buscema Conan splash, doesn't it? And then what really sold me was, yeah, King Cole's in it, baby. My favorite barbarian. Now, yeah, a little warning. There's a little nudity and sex in here for a couple panels, which, yeah, what are you going to do? But the rest of it is just seems like just crazy barbarian action, which is what we all know and love. Oh, this was interesting, I thought. Those of you familiar with Barry Smith's run, I believe it was issue 10, where he Conan, the Tower of the Elephant. Well, that elephant dude, see, Conan goes back in time to King Cole's time, which is like thousands of years before Conan. And so this elephant guy that he later mercifully killed in Conan number 10 or 9 or 11, one of those. And he's still alive because this is like thousands of years earlier. So he talks to Conan for a little bit here. Well, that was kind of a cool little throwback to the Tower of the Elephant. So anyway, I don't know. I think this is like 5 issues collected, maybe just 4. I don't know. But I'll finish reading this soon and, enjoy that stuff a lot. Jerry Roscoe says, Aaron, we don't see many covers these days with the word balloons as part of the trade dress. Do you feel this should make a comeback, or are they of a different time? Well, they're definitely of a different time, but that doesn't mean I don't think they should make a comeback. In fact, I did it on my Wraith of God 3 1972 Marvel variant. I put dialogue on there to be more authentic to what they used to do. And they went through phases where I remember Marvel was always one step ahead of DC, right? Starting in the 60s. And they would start putting word balloons on, and this is how Stan told it, so you can take it with a grain of salt. But Stanley would say, well, we would put word balloons on the covers, and DC would go, oh my gosh, they're putting word balloons on the covers. We need to do that. And they'd start putting word balloons on the covers. And then Marvel would take the word balloons off for a couple of months and not have any covers with word balloons. And then DC would go, oh, we need to take our word balloons off. And then they would, so they would do that to mess with them, according to Stan, because Marvel books were outselling them because they were just better. It wasn't because they had monkeys on the cover or because it was dialogue balloons on the cover or not. But I do sort of, it's kind of fun, but I don't think it's necessary. I think it's more nostalgic at this point. But if you got something to say, if your character has something to say, I mean, we just looked at this, but here we go. We got Green Lantern saying, in brightest day and blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Never again. Well, okay. Do we need those word balloons? No. Do they add something? They kind of do. They kind of hint at motivation for why Green Arrow might be doing never again. So he's obviously pissed. Otherwise he's just randomly shooting an arrow through there and you're kind of like, what's up with that? Well, he's pissed about something. So, you kind of get this sort of built-in animosity there between the two characters before you even start rolling. So, that actually serves a pretty decent purpose right there. I'm not a big fan of putting in, stupid dialogue. Like, if you had Gulliver of Mars going, this monster has me by the leg, I'm doomed. You're kind of, I can see that the monster has you by the leg. So, it depends on what your purpose is or what, but I don't mind doing it. I don't know that I would do it on a regular cover. If I did it in a throwback cover, which I did on Wraith of God 3, for the sole purpose of it being a throwback cover, I would do it. Would I do it currently? Probably not. But then again, maybe it might be a good idea to freshen things up and go back and bring that stuff back and create a new sort of vibe on the newsstand. So, well, newsstand doesn't really exist anymore, but it's all conjecture because I can't see myself ever doing anything in mainstream again or getting the opportunity. I mean, I would do it if I was offered the right thing, but I can't imagine them offering me jack at this point. So anyway, there you go. There's my my favorite covers from the 70s. And, you know, since we're talking about the 70s a little bit, I think it's time we do, I do this occasionally. It's not every week. And you can tell because I can't find the, there it is. Here's a little intro for something I do every once in a while, and we're going to do it again today in the Christmas spirit, of course. Yeah, that's right, baby. It's fun stuff from the 70s. One of my favorite presents as a wee lad, this was 1970. How many of you guys have heard of this board game right here? It's Dr. Seuss's Fish-a-ma-jigger game. You get a free Cat in the Hat poster inside. I remember I was so excited to get that. So I got this. This came out in 1970. I was 6 years old. Got this for Christmas. I don't remember asking. Maybe I did ask for it. It probably was in like the JCPenney or the Montgomery Ward catalog that I went through as a child. You know, we'd do every Christmas and we'd circle all the things we wanted. And then our parents would look through and go, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. No, maybe I'll get him this. And so I got this. And you're saying, oh, Aaron, that's great. That's not nostalgic, but certainly you don't still have it. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Aaron has been a collector since he was a wee lad. I hung on to this game from 1970, folks. This is 54 freaking years old. I'm older than this game, but just barely. Okay, the fun thing about this is it's vinyl. Okay, this cover here this isn't cardboard. This is vinyl, and it snaps closed. So you go boom like that, and it opens up. Let's take a look inside, shall we? Okay, we can do this without spilling everything. Okay, so you've got this vinyl board, right? So I guess if you're like eating while you're playing and you spill something on the vinyl, it'll clean right up. So here's the board, right? And you got a little fish-a-ma-jigger spinner right here. Oops, wrong hand. God, I always do this. Everything's backwards on the screen. All right, here we go. Yeah, look at that. Spins, baby. And it basically shows you what color to move to. That's a pretty simple game. I mean, you know, it's first grade, kindergarten, whatever. So it's not going to be too complex. So that's your playing board. And so this is the little fish-a-ma-jigger box it came with. And here you have the bait box, right? You open that up, and what's in here? You got your little movers. Now, they're cardboard figures, so they didn't fare too well, but they're little. Now, every time we played, I had to be the Grinch. I had to be the Grinch, or I wouldn't play. I'd throw a fit. And so what you would do is you take these fish, these whales here, right? And they would all go and sit in these slots, right? And then I can't remember exactly. There was it was a yellow straw that was a fishing pole that I don't have anymore. And you'd go through here and you'd hook a fish, right? Randomly sort of hook a fish, pull it up, and then you'd turn on the other side to see what it was. This is a Horton, here's a Who, I think. And then you'd like move to that color or something, or I can't remember. Yeah, that's right. When you landed on the fish spot, and then you pulled one of these fish up, then it would either advance you or make you go backwards, depending on where it was on the board. So they were kind of dangerous. You didn't want to get Yertle for some reason. Yertle the turtle, I think, made you go back almost to the beginning. But anyway, so there you go. That is Fish-A-Majigger. Still a fun game for the whole family. Not really, but if you have small children, they probably love it. And I just, I've hung on to it, and I will die with this game, and then my kids will probably throw it in the trash. But you know what? It meant something to me. So there you go. That's the Dr. Seuss Fish-A-Majigger game from 1970. What a grand old Christmas that was. Evil One for 5. Thank you so much. Thanks for kind words, dude. Hope you and the family have a wonderful Christmas. That comic. What comic do you want for Christmas? I just want some of your original art, bro. You keep telling me that. I've got stuff set aside, and then you disappear for a while, and you come back, and I got plenty of original artwork available, Chris, just for you. Stealth X5 for $2. Hello. Thank you, Stealth. What comic do I want for Christmas? Well, what comic do I want, or what comic do I likely going to get? Like I always, my son, he likes to buy like old comics for me, but it's like, you don't like spend like $100 on your dad. Nobody does that anymore. So I have to find like cheapo comics for him. Like, I think there's like Iron Fist number 12 where Captain America crosses over. It's got a Dave Cockrum cover that I put on the list, like some 70s books that aren't really worth that much that, my son could spend a few bucks and get me for Christmas and not feel too bad that, that he spent too much money on me. Realistically, what comics do I want? I want Journey into Mystery 99, the first appearance of Mr. Hyde. It's not a cheap book, though. I want Fantastic Four 77, the first appearance of him. I want Thor 165, the first appearance of Warlock as Warlock. Because I'm a Thor collector, and that's an issue I'm missing. There's also, you know what? Let me show you something. If I dare to show you something on my own show, I'm daring to show you something. I just discovered this. This is really bizarre. Excuse me. I'm not being very proficient with my my search here. Okay. So take a look at this. And I can't show you the insides, but because I don't have it. But I'm thinking about getting this just because it's so unique and weird. This is Fantastic Four number 108. Okay, so what's so interesting about this? When Kirby left to go to DC, I believe he did, what was his last issue? Was FF 101 or 102? And so John Romita stepped in and had to do a few issues of FF before John Buscema took over. So on this issue of 108, they had the layouts of a Kirby story that they'd never used, right? And my son is calling me. He does this every Sunday. It's like, dude, can't you remember I'm doing a show? So something just fell downstairs. All chaos is breaking loose. So they took this Kirby story, but he didn't do all the panels, right? So some of the panels in this comic are Kirby. Some of them are Romita, and some of them are Buscema. And I'm like dying to get this book just to look at the inside of it, to see it just like bounce all over the place. I'll go, oh my gosh, that's a Kirby close-up. That's Buscema. Oh, here's John Romita over here. So I've got to get this FF 108 just so I can look through it. There you go, Marcus Killigrew. That comic was Frankenstein together. Indeed, it was, but it's the people that Frankensteined it that are of interest. They're all great artists, and it's kind of like, I've got to see this. So I don't have this book, but I'm going to find this book, and it doesn't have to be like a, they're all over eBay, but it doesn't have to be like, I don't want like a graded copy because then I can't look at the inside of it. So I'm going to get like probably a mid-grader or something just so I can thumb through it and look at it. Blackjack. I've got 108. What do you want to trade for? That depends. What conditions is it in? It may not be worth anything. It's not a valuable book, so you're not going to get a lot of trade out of me for it, but I am interested in it. Daryl Wayne says maybe he's calling about the show. Now, see, now I've got to like send him a message and say, I'm streaming right now, Josh. And he'll go, oh, yeah. Here I am. I'm streaming right now. There we go. Anyway, so so there's like books I want to get. I want to get Phantom Stranger number 6 because that has a Headless Horseman cover by Neil Adams. I want to get Supernatural Thrillers number 6, which also ironically has a Headless Horseman cover on it. I have a copy of it, but it's not in great shape. I want to get a near mint copy. So I'm always looking for my next big near mint book. Okay. Enough about comics. Let's talk about art. Or maybe talk about comic book art, which is just about like talking about comics, isn't it? Here we go. It's time for Who's This Guy? You guys saying, who in the heck is Raul Cestaro? I don't even know. You'll find him on Instagram. You'll find him on Twitter. He doesn't have a really big following. It's very remarkable. But I discovered him by accident. And he's an Italian artist, comic book artist, illustrator. And he's younger than me. So he doesn't have a lot of history to report on. And that's really all I know about him personally. But look at this stuff here. So he does this book called Tex, or graphic novel. You know how they do in Europe, they have those European albums or whatever. And so he does one called Tex, which is obviously a Western, probably a spaghetti Western. His horses are really, really good, obviously. And his cowboys ain't bad either. Excuse me. My son said, when I told him I was streaming right now, he goes, arg. And I said, I'll be done in 30 minutes. So I don't know what's arguing about him, but he's probably in the store, like going to pick something up for dinner tomorrow night. And he wants to know what he should get. Yeah, we're getting apple pie, salad, potatoes for mash. And no, I'm multitasking. So let's take a little bit more a look at Raul stuff. Now, this is the piece I originally saw that I went, whoa, who is this dude? Check this out. Probably from the same series, Tex. Isn't that great? Look at the just the posture, the body language on the cowboys here and the horses. Now, Malin would be kind of pissy because these horses are too small, but they're not. These are actual size as horses would be with dudes on them. This is just tremendous work. It's like so tremendous that it pisses me off. Look how good this horse's head is. The horses are fantastic. And the guy, the body language, the inking, it's loose, but it's not. Love it. So I got a bunch of Western stuff here, but there's another series he did we'll look at in a second. Here's another one, I assume from Tex. I want to get to a point where I'm more loose like this with my inking. It's more Frazetta-like, it's got more realistic weight and quality to it. Whereas I'm like sometimes just too slick. And there's a thing, like Dale Keown, for example, is super slick. But I really like this sort of rough, looser quality. It's not to say this is a loose drawing, because it isn't. Everything is drawn really, really well. But it's not like every line is precious kind of thing. It's like you're creating a soft area or a hard area. And the line work doesn't have to be perfect, So alrighty. He keeps texting me. It's not like I'm on a show or anything, and I just told him I'm on a show. Even this wood branch here, it's just cool. I need to get looser. Can I do it? Do I have it in me? I don't know if I do. I'm going to try, though. Evil One. What does Evil One have to say about this? Is I'll be here when I can. Sorry, I'm injured. Yeah, I you've got the arm injury. That's right. I just bought you that. Oh, you did not. Better not have. That's very kind of you, though. Check this out. Who's the guy that had the Wild West show back in the day? That looks like, this guy looks like, not Custard, but who was the guy that had the Wild Bill Hickok or something like that? I don't know. Look at this drawing. I mean, are you kidding me? And look at how the wagon wheel is so simple. I mean, the shape is there and all the stuff is there, but it's not, overly rendered, Look at these horses. Judas Priest. Even though like the hand done lettering is nice, this guy's pissing me off. That is just a beautiful piece. Yeah, Buffalo Bill. There it is. Buffalo Bill is what I was looking up. Buffalo Bill Cody. Yeah. Kit Carson. Not to be confused with Kit Carter. I did. Her name was originally Kit Carson. I was like, God, that sounds familiar. And I looked it up and I went, okay, I can't use that. So again, this is Raul Cestaro. And look at this. Now, he's also doing a book called, what the heck was it called? Why can't, there it is. Dylan Dog. And it looks to me like it's kind of a detective horror thing. But anyway, you got the mummy right here. Look at this statue of Ra or whoever it is, or what are Anubis, right, is the dog. So this is our hero Dylan Dog right here. This is very cool. I think it's cool. Look at this soft, sort of rough-edged inking here on the cloak. Really nice. Here's some more Dylan Dog. Now this is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This is based on the Frederick March version of Mr. Hyde. Look at that building back there. Look at the pants. Look at the wrinkles in the pants right here. Wrightson did that really, really well. Look at that wrinkles in the shirt. God, this is good. Look at the body language on this guy here. This guy laying in the street. Oh. Look at his hands. He does look he has a little bit of a Wrightson influence to him, doesn't he? I bet he does. This seems very Wrightson-y right in here. This is very Wrightson-y right in here. These pant legs are Wrightson-y. That's just so good. So good. Now look at, here's some interior pages. Look at the use of blacks, shadow and light in here. Look at that. So you got silhouette here, right? The chef doing something probably not right. Turns around with his bloody, what's he cutting up there? I don't know. Look at the shadow work on Dylan Dog's face. That's awesome. Looks like he went in with some white out here in the hair to get those strands. There's Chef Boyardee. I just, this is just really, really good art. Really good drawing. Amarylith 2005 says, you draw way better than that. Well, thank you. My goodness. Thank you so much. Anti-Entity says, who is the artist? It's Paul Cestaro. Cestaro. I'm not Paul, Raul. Raul Cestaro. You can find him on Instagram. You can find him on Twitter. Now here, this looks like a lot of the work is being done in the color as opposed to the line work. Dylan Dog, old boy. I'm sure that means something in Italy that I don't understand. But another cool dynamic cover. Yeah, I got a skull head right there, the hand coming out of the graves. Really dynamic. Great cover shot, really. So you got this really strong, big foreground element, and then our hero back here reacting to the hands coming out of the grave. It's nice. That's really nice. Oh, Angela Curry's in the chat. How about that? Angela Chocolates Curry is in the house, I should say. Michelle Bowers is in the house as well for $4.99. Thank you, Michelle. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Appreciate it very much. Same to you. The Dawn says, crazy excellent art pisses me off too. But see, that's what you use as fuel to get better, because you say, I'm not going to let this guy be better than me. I'm going to get revenge. Look at this piece. His use of shadow and light is really, really nice. Looks like pirates, like Crew of the Dead here. Yeah, you know what? This is very Wrightson-y right down in here, this dress and everything. He's got to be influenced by Bernie. It's got to be. Look at this dry brush. It's almost Mark Schultz-y like. That's really nice looking stuff. Yeah, I'm getting pissed off again. That's really nice. Angela, Merry Christmas, Aaron and Shelley. Thank you, Angela. And she sends a box of chocolates my way. That's very nice. Angela, chocolates curry. As people say, Kelly Jones vibe. But, Kelly Jones vibe is not derivative, but it's influenced by Wrightson and Golden. It's just his take on that. Just like, my influences are, you know what I mean? But they're interpreted a little bit differently. Creative Face says Dylan Dog is an occult detective. There you go. Now one more piece. Look at this. Again, great use of light and shadow on this one. So you got this kind of skull, Mignola-esque sort of looking skull thing right here. This is nice with the white hat, the black face, and the white coat with a knife. This is Werewolf. That's very Mignola-esque. Groucho Marx back here driving the car. This car is really nicely done too. Isn't it funny as artists? We always like what everybody else does better than we do ourselves. Great looking stuff. So there you go. Raul Cestaro. Let's make sure you check that out. Raul Cestaro. He has only like 5,000 followers on Instagram. I mean, I got over 13,000. I'm destroying him. But tremendous work. Tremendous work. Guy from Italy, where my ancestors came from. Stealth for $2. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thank you, Stealth. Same back to you. In fact, let me extend Christmas salutations to everybody in the chat and everybody watching, even if you're not watching live at the moment. Excuse me. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Although I will see you before the new year. We need Aaron in top hat and mutton chops to complete his Ebenezer Scrooge cosplay. I was going to shave this thing off, and I was thinking if I shave it off, I could shave this beard off and do the whole mutton chops, mustache, sideburn kind of thing. But Shelley likes it. Everybody else seems to like it. So I'm just going to keep it, I guess. It doesn't really bother me as much as I thought it was going to. Dog. There's Dylan Dog down there driving everybody nuts. Thank you very much. Speaking of Christmas, I'm going to do a short Christmas rant. But I got to play this first. There's Pigpen standing in the snow, getting it all dirty. This is my favorite Christmas song. Hark the Herald Angels Sing. Christ is born. Yeah, there it is. Charlie Brown Christmas. What I was going to say was, I've been hearing a lot of Christmas music on the radio and all that kind of stuff. And they play like that terrible Christmas song by Paul McCartney. And then they'll play Elton John, Step into Christmas. And it's just like, why are all these more modern, those aren't, I mean, they've been around for years, but the modern era Christmas songs so crappy? And it's because they're people, they don't understand what Christmas is supposed to be about, right? It's supposed to be about the birth of Jesus Christ. And they just sing about the presents and having a party or whatever and mistletoe and and it's like that stuff's all fine and dandy, but it's like the songs have no heart. They have nothing no substance beneath them to make them anything that other than just silly gibberish. And that's why everybody gets sick of listening to those Christmas songs and they're so bad. But Hark the Herald Angels Sing, it's a great song. And a lot of those kind of, shall we say, caroling or Christmas hymns, I have much, much weightier, and they resonate with us because there's meaning and depth behind them. And there you go. That's all I have to say about that. Anti-Entity for $5. Christmas bah humbug, but have a great Christmas, Merry Yule. She's torn between a holly jolly Christmas and being Scrooge. Merry Christmas to all. God bless. Geek Avengers, $5. Thank you so much for those wonderful Christmas greetings and salutations. Yes, that's actually true. My dog was telling everybody to hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe if you haven't done it. By golly, I mean, how is this channel going to grow to epic proportions if you guys don't like and subscribe? It's free. Why wouldn't you do it? It's absolutely free. All right. So I did my little Christmas. It really wasn't much of a Christmas rant, but it is kind of. Let's all sing Hark the Herald Angels, and maybe we won't hear my dog barking and going nuts. Oh. I don't know how that door keeps getting open, you know? What kind of a show are we running around here? Where's my producer? Okay. So there's a couple of things I want to look at. Not only do I collect comic books, you guys know that, and original art when I can afford it, movie posters when they really move me, books of certain subject matter that appeal to me. Yeah, I collect all that stuff. Board games. I've got a problem. Well, let's just admit it. I've got a problem. I'm forthcoming with that. I got a problem, and there you go. One of the other things I also collect are Saturday Evening Post covers by Leyendecker. And there's a couple, you know, Evil One Chris was asking, you know, what comic I wanted for Christmas. There's a couple Leyendecker covers. These are not as hard to find as you would think. Old Saturday Evening Post magazines. I've got some like from 1907, right? So that's like, it's over 100 years old. I mean, that's pretty remarkable. But there's a couple Christmas ones that I have not been able to land, and they just do not show up. I've seen the covers without the book, you know, like they'll cut the cover off and sell just the cover. And it's like, I want the whole magazine. So I have never seen this one for sale. And I got to get it at some point. Now, most of these, realistically, they're not worth that much. You know, they're $40, $60. I don't think I paid more than $60 for any one of them. Now, some of them are worth more than others simply because their cover is more desirable. And these Santa Claus covers by Leyendecker are very, very desirable. So, but I still wouldn't pay more than $100 for this. And I don't really get them in condition. I just, as long as they're not torn up, I want them in, you know, like, you know, the staples attached and no serious tears or, you know, massive creases, that kind of thing. But I just like them. There's this nostalgia. And of course, I love Leyendecker's art, but I have not been able to find this one anywhere. Here's another one. Now, this one is Thanksgiving, and this one is easy to find. I just haven't bought it yet. And when I say easy to find, I mean, it shows up on and off. This is a Thanksgiving one. I just love this big fat guy, this British fat guy with his royal robe, and he's holding up the turkey, and the dogs chasing him. I just think this is good fun. Leyendecker was the comic book artist of illustrators back before there were comic books. Look at the stylized smoke right here, you know, the angular and very comic booky. I just love his stuff. And so I haven't got this one yet, but it's on my hit list. And it's not Christmas, but it is Thanksgiving. So it's kind of in that. Okay, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Where is it? Pastmaster Dan says Etsy has one for $400. I would not pay $400 for that magazine. It's just not worth it. Here's the other one that I haven't been able to get. I'd pay $100 for that. I might actually, since I look, I might go 150 would be the most I would pay for either one of these. $400 is ridiculous. That'll sit there till it disintegrates. No one's going to pay $400 for that. But this, I love this one too. And I love Leyendecker. What's not to love about Leyendecker? Look at that, 5 cents, man. December 26th, 1925, right? 5 cents. You get a Saturday Evening Post magazine. 5 cents. Oh boy, those were the days, my friends. Now here's one. I think I've seen this one a couple of times. It's not that high on my hit list. This is a World War I Santa cover, but it's not really. You know, Santa's got his little doughboy helmet on and that kind of thing. It's one I'd like to have, but it's not one I'm dying. You know, it's like if it came up at the right price, I'd get it. But yeah, this 1918. So apparently World War I was still going on in 1918. Was it 1915 to 1919, something like that? And look at the limited color palette. It's just kind of red and gray. You know, it's not really, they don't have the brighter colors on these earlier Saturday Evening Posts. This is another one I've seen. I just haven't picked it up yet because it's not a priority, but it's still one I want to get. This guy is like, that's like a scary looking dude, but I look at the boar's head. I love that. I mean, who eats that? I mean, you know, the whole pig with the apple in its mouth and stuff is like, this still got the hair on it. I mean, what are you supposed to eat? You're going to, you know, here you go, put it on the plate. What are you supposed to do with that? But it's wonderful. This guy's face, and the outfit and everything. So this is 1924. Man, what a different time. Of course, the 20s were very prosperous. The roaring 20s were rocking and rolling. I've already done Leyendecker in my, you know, Who's This Guy Artist Spotlight before, but I could just look at his stuff forever. It's just so good. Andy Dolliff says, I was born in the wrong era. I would love that. Yeah, but you still got to pull the hair out, don't you? Shadows Pond says they normally don't have the hair on it. Yeah, that's what I would thinking. I mean, how are you supposed to eat that? There you go. Apex Comics. World War I was 1914 to 1918. I was in the ballpark. I was there. Geekies, he's got the dates as well. Leg Kick does. Everybody's on it. Randy Hall says it ended November 11th, 1918. So anyway, those are a few of the Leyendecker covers. I have the one with Washington kneeling and praying. I have the one with Washington on his horse. I have the one with the Indian Apache or whatever on his horse, which is a very sort of what people would consider a racist depiction of an Indian at that point. I like the Pilgrim ones. I've got and the patriotic ones with Uncle Sam and stuff on them. So I've got quite a few. But those couple of Santa Claus ones by Leyendecker have eluded me. And someday. Back when people heated with coal. Just saying. All right. Now, I know of this. He says, Shadows Pond says, our Cajun family cooks pigs in the ground, trenched in banana leaves, no hair. Very good stuff. We cooked a cow underground at a family reunion once. My dad was a butcher. And so someone had the whole cow and you made the fire in this bed of coals or whatever, and you wrapped the cow in something. And then we lowered it in there and then covered it up. And it didn't work great. It was undercooked. But it was we left it in there overnight. It was very interesting. I think you want to put some sort of pipe in there, right? So the oxygen can go down there and keep the fire alive. Because if you just bury it, it's going to put the fire out. And maybe that's what we did wrong. I don't know. Anyway, so put that on your list of things that Aaron wants to get for Christmas. All righty, folks. We're coming to the end of our show. And you know what that means? I do like the news does, and save the best for last so you don't tune out. It is once again time to go searching in the woods for our good friend, the mysterious Bigfoot. Yes, it is once again time for our special Christmas edition, which you'll find is like every other edition of Not Finding Bigfoot. Our first video here is what I like to call Bigfoot at night, which is the best time to film him because now you really can't see him. Let's see what this has in store for us here. Again, you all can take my comments for what they're worth. You be the judge of what you're about to see. Guy heard something in the woods, allegedly, and there he is. See him? There he is. Oh, there he is. Well, there he is. Okay. Now, here's the problem. Look at this. Look how baggy that leg. This looks like a really padded, baggy costume. The way that leg bends right there, it doesn't feel like that's like hair covering muscle. It feels like it's fake hair covering a costume, and it's very baggy. So I'm not buying this. So we see him walking around back there. You see him a little bit up there, and there he is walking around. Look at that, the way it's just like flapping and shaggy, and that looks like somebody in a suit to me, a baggy suit too. I mean, I give him credit for filming at night so you can't see anything. That's helpful, but that baggy, shaggy leg movement there is not selling it for me. So you bring that into my class, you're getting a C. It's average. You filmed at night. You can't see much of it, so that's all good technique. But we got a good shot of him in his baggy Bigfoot costume, and that kind of blew it. Leg Kick says, if I find Bigfoot, I may find the Saturday Evening Post I'm looking for. So anyway, that's how we start off today's show. Now, what do you think of this? Something about this I kind of like. I don't know why. This is just a still photo of a trail cam, allegedly. But is it AI generated and put in there? Is it a guy in a costume? Is it the real thing? I don't like the look of him, with the big nose and the mouth here. It's just like a guy with a beard that maybe needs to, shave. Like if he was on like a desert island, say he's a really hairy guy, and he's on a desert island for a couple of years and couldn't trim his body hair, he might end up looking like this. I want something that looks more ape-like, but at the same time, I kind of, there's a certain quality to this photograph that makes you think, yeah, man, that could be real. Angela Curry says, I've seen this before, meaning you've seen this dude in the woods before, you've seen this picture before. Grumpy Old Ninja says, that's not bad, but it ain't real. Yeah, I don't think it is either, but I don't mind this. I think you turn this into my class. Other than the design of the Bigfoot, I'm kind of like more monkey-like, less human-like, but I do kind of like it. I think it's not bad. I think it's not a bad effort. You're gonna get a B out of me on this one. There you go. James says, that's the winner to Finding Kelsey. Indeed. After JFK, Trump should declassify Bigfoot and Nessie. Indeed. I don't think you're going to find anything on them, though. That's the problem. I don't think. I'm just too cynical. I want to believe, but I don't believe. All right, here, this one I call Strolling Bigfoot. We're in the woods, and we see this. We're in the wood. There we go. Should be moving any second now. Did I freeze frame this? Oh, there we go. There it is. There it is. There it is. My reaction right there was more believable than the people that videoed this. There's a lot of trees with nothing going on. I'm like, what are they doing here? And there he is. There he is. There he is. What do we make of this? He's kind of strolling along, though. I would be like, some more swinging arms, maybe kind of like hopping, leaping around like not just a casual stroll to Walmart. That's not what I'm looking for in my Bigfoot performance. Again, this is one of those things where you can say, oh, it's a really clear shot of him. It's kind of in focus, but he's behind trees, so you can't really see him. So it's a way to trick the viewer into thinking they're seeing something when you're really not showing them much at all, without going blurry or bouncy camera. But this, I always love that when they see Bigfoot and the camera immediately goes to the ground for a couple of seconds and they come back up and he's gone. It's like, why are you filming the ground? Why are you filming the ground right there? You've got this going on. You're like, oh my gosh, and I'm going to film the ground. It makes no sense. Drives me nuts when people do that. Unless it's all a big part of the fake. Okay, we're filming, do. Hey, what do you think of that, man? I don't know, but can you film the ground, please? That might give us a look. Why did he do that? There it is, right? You got Bigfoot, everything's going great, and then you film the ground. Why am I filming the ground? The guy's not running or moving. He's standing there filming this, and then he moves the camera and films the ground. Then he comes back up and he's gone. If the walk was better, if I got a better performance out of Bigfoot here, I might think this isn't too bad. Again, I like the idea that instead of blurring the image out, he hides in behind trees. So we really get this kind of feeling like, no, this is what you would see if you were filming Bigfoot. Because of course he would be walking on through some trees and stuff, but at least I'm pretty much in focus, except when I film the ground, which is a dead giveaway. It's fake because they always do that. Although I don't know why. I don't get it. Daryl Wayne has a very good point. He says, Bigfoot always walks from side to side, never away from the camera or runs at the camera. This is true. Why is that? It's very interesting. Here we go. Now, well, my feeling, this is just a alleged trail cam photo here, but this looks pretty much AI generated to me. I mean, it's clear, but at the same time, it's out of focus. You know what I'm saying? So you can see certain things. I do like the body language, though. I think it's pretty good. I like the legs, I do like the body language here. Looks like he's got Bigfoot boobies. I'm not sure. Just saggy chest, old man Bigfoot, or I don't know. But see how the face is like conveniently fuzzed out, and this feels a lot like a artificially generated image. In fact, I'm going to go full bore and say that's exactly what that is. You guys have been threatening to do this for years, and I will at some point do my fake Bigfoot video, and you will believe. What does this say here? Grumpy Old Ninja says that is a very acceptable Bigfoot. Okay. More ape-like, but not real. Moobs are 2 different cup sizes. Well, Daryl Wayne says, when I make my Bigfoot video, it will be a chase scene, and it better be, because that you want something exciting. But anyway, I thought this was interesting in but clearly fake in my professional estimation. And I am a cryptozoologist because I said I am. And that's all I need to be a cryptozoologist, is to claim that I am one, by the way. Just saying. Okay, so this is rock climbing Bigfoot. Now this is in Oregon, allegedly. Right in my backyard, practically. So let's take a look. See what we can see. I love how they have the nice, beautiful shots of nature in complete beautiful focus. And there's Bigfoot climbing up the hill in not great focus. Extreme zoom, of course, blurred up. And that's pretty much all we got on that. So there you go. There's Bigfoot. You said always walking side to side. Well, here's an instance where he's not. He's climbing up the mountain. And looks like he's struggling a bit. But honestly, for all we know, this could be a guy in a coat. I mean, you can't see anything from this. You know, I kind of like the arm swing and stuff in here, but I mean, what are we supposed to take from this? I mean, kind of looks Bigfooty right there, kind of, maybe. Yeah, he's got the arms kind of, he's hunched over a little bit, got the arms swinging. That's not bad, I guess. But, you know, again, what can we really see? Auntie Entity wants to know where the Krampus footage is. Indeed. All right, so here's this one. This is a photograph in McMinnville, Oregon, which I actually have friends in McMinnville. It's about 45-minute to an hour drive from here. It's sort of southwest of where I'm at. Now, this is a still, but I kind of like it. If you can see here, he's got these long monkey arms and the shorter legs. I like it. It's like clearly not designed to look like a guy in a suit or a regular human being. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, I think, here. Yeah, so you can see kind of the legs are shorter. You got the kind of hunched over a little bit. I'm not sure what that is. Is he holding a balloon? I don't have any idea. But the longer arm, I mean, it's fake, but but it's more than, I'm sure it's fake. But the design of the creature, I think, you know, the body positioning, again, the length of the arms versus the length of the legs, I kind of like it. If I believe this was a real photo, which I don't, I would say that's pretty good. I like that. It doesn't explain why it's so out of focus, though. Like, even look at even the trees here and the stuff in the foreground that you think might be in better focus is not. So what does that tell you? It tells you that they took a photograph, put it in Photoshop, and blurred it up so you can see how fake this actually looks when it's in focus. But from what I can see here, I kind of like it. At least, you know, they got the, like I said, they got the body language is working for me there. And the longer arms and the, so that's in McMinnville, Oregon. Now, this is a highway back here, I would assume. This is probably a public park of some kind. So what in the world is Bigfoot doing in a public park and no one saw him? Come on, man. This would be the ultimate irony, wouldn't it? Aaron will go make his fake video only to have Bigfoot actually show up. Where are all the hot female Bigfoot? I think that's a contradiction in terms. That looks more like a gorilla. It does. Nice little GJ, got a nice little Wraith of God thing there in your avatar. Thank you very much. Always potato cameras, says GJ. Angela Chocolates Curry says geriatrics foot. That's for sure. So there you go. That's all your, that's, you know, most people will have their dreams filled with visions of sugar plums. You will have your visions at Christmas time, your dreams filled with Bigfoot, blurry Bigfoot visions. And I want to personally take credit for that. So let me ask everybody once again to please hit the like and subscribe button if you have not done so already, and please remember that the way I make a living these days is selling comic books, my own comic books. And please consider backing Wraith of God Fear Hollow #3 if you have not already. There's a link in the description of this video, take you right there. If you want to get Kit Carter, you want to get back issues, and you want them right now, gosh darn it, you can order them off my website, and they ship the next day. You'll find a link also to my website in the description of this video. Again, let me say Merry Christmas to all. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for the super chats. As I like to say, and it's so very true, I cannot do this show without you, and I appreciate your contributions. Once again, Evil One for 5. I will be here when I can. Sorry, I'm injured. Just bought you the FF108 near mint. Merry Christmas, dude. I don't know if that's true or not. If it is, you're too kind, and thank you very much for that, Chris. And the best to you and your family, and the best to everyone this holiday and Christmas season. Please have a great Christmas and a wonderful New Year, although I will be seeing you next Sunday before New Year's, and we will talk about New Year's and all of our resolutions and all that good stuff. So until next week after Christmas, you guys all take care, enjoy your holiday, and be safe, and we'll see you right here next week on Aaron Live. Good night, everybody.